It's a bull. Good morning. Hey, what's up? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Got the live Viva the Keys live cam up, and that is a whole bunch of snappers. Not quite sure what size they are, and got one actually checking us out right here. A couple of them. But what a cool site this is. It's down in, I believe it's in the Key West area, lower part of the Keys, and cam they got somewhere around there, and I believe those are a whole bunch of mangrove snackers. They are snacks, that's for sure. Tasty little snacks. Mangrove snappers, man, and that's about as live and fresh as you get right there. Take a look at the teeth on those little critters too. They do have teeth. Well, let's take a look at, something here I noticed as well. Isn't it kind of like us a little bit? You notice how there seems to be safety in numbers with schools, but really, is there safety in numbers? There's only safety in numbers if you're not one of the expendables. And of course, you all know how schools work. But large groups of animals, or in this case, fish, get together in big groups here, so that when predators come along, that I think the ones in the center, or for the most part, it keeps them somewhat safer. And again, that's unless you're one of the expendables. And the thing with humans is we tend to do this as well. We tend to kind of flock together in so many different ways, especially on the mental level and on the narrative level. We seem to and I'm getting into this for a reason here, because we're going to talk about the herd mentality. And when I say the herd mentality, I'm not really talking about physically getting in large groups. A lot of us like to be in ourselves in amongst. we isolate ourselves in our homes, where we really don't even know our neighbors, yet we are literally 75 feet away from them. We're sleeping 75 feet or 50 feet away from our neighbors. We don't really know them. We hardly ever see them. We do kind of school together. That's what cities are. That's what neighborhoods are. But even more so, we do on a mental level. We herd, and I won't say we herd, but we are herded together mentally wise. We are herded together in a narrative fashion. At least some of us are, or no, I'm going to say some of us, at least a good part of people are out there. They're herded together, not unlike these fish, all right? Fear causes these fish to herd together like this, and school together, is I guess what you call it when fishing. And the same thing happens with people. Fear causes people to school together. Fear causes people to herd together. Fear also causes people to run off a cliff. Being chased off a cliff, following the herd over a cliff. You've heard that term many times. Well, there's a reason I'm getting into this, and if you take a look, in some ways, people can be just like fish and other animals. We can be herded together out of fear. And here's something, my little meme for the day. It's a quote for the day. I actually took it from an article that I liked, and I'm going to pass that article along to you as well. And it says, "I don't like being told whom to hate. I can figure that on my own. I especially don't like being told to hate groups of foreigners," and that's Marie Hawthorne. Okay, who is Marie Hawthorne? I don't even know who Marie Hawthorne is, but she did write a really good article in what they call the organic prepper here. All right, and I'm going to get into spot prices. I'm kind of mixing up a little bit. I'm starting with this because it leads somewhere, I believe. Great article, again, in my opinion, by the organic prepper. I think I've seen this site or read a few things on this. It's not quite what you believe it is, or what it looks like. It's not a conspiratorial type site. Why are so many people bleeding like sheep? And that's actually what got me, this article got me thinking about the schooling fish right there. Basically, the article kind of goes into that it's very possible that this whole Russian thing that we're going with Ukraine, it went from Critter 19, then it went from Ukraine, and she brings up a kind of interesting point. Cites 4 specific conditions that need to be met in order to transform otherwise peaceful societies into societies capable of mass atrocities. They are prolonged isolation, lack of meaning, free-floating anxiety, free-floating aggression and frustration without options. And I kind of think that that's what we're seeing right now. And where does the article head to? Give me 1 second here. It talks about how societies are molded using mass hypnosis, psychosis, whatever you want to call it, And this is true. This is how narratives are created. This is how patriotism, nationalism, this is how hatred towards our neighbors, hatred towards people that have a different language, a different viewpoint, a different thought process. This is the division of people. And again, why do I go into this? I know I should be getting into this right now, spot prices, which look pretty exciting. However, this all plays into the price of gold and silver. When an empire is on its decline, so is its money. And when the money is on decline, that usually means that's probably a good time, historically speaking. If you look at the facts from history, it's a good time to stray away from fiat, stray away from the lies, stray away from the narrative crowd, and go do your own thing with your pocket full of gold and silver coins. I think you're going to be a lot safer for it. That's just my opinion. But superb article on the organic prepper. Recommend you read it. Wires. Just type in. Just do your search. I don't do DuckDuckGo anymore since what they did last time, not too recently. I don't even know who I'm using right now. Probably Bing, which is just as bad as the rest of them. But I quit DuckDuckGo for a reason, because when they started blocking searches of other people's opinions that didn't agree with the narrative is when I blocked DuckDuckGo. So no longer my search engine, but whatever search engine you're using, type in "why are so many people bleeding like sheep," and you'll see it on the Organic Prepper. Excellent article that kind of delves into what we're talking about. Isolation has been spreading for years. This brings us to Desmond's second condition, lack of meaning. I think Desmond, I forget who Desmond is, he's the person that wrote about how societies are being herded together and herded and brainwashed, more or less. The spread of free-floating anxiety. Society soon turns into a punching bag. There's really good stuff here, and this is kind of like the end stage of this. I couldn't believe it when overnight we were expected to hate Russia passionately. Casting Russia as the Joker of the United States Batman has been going on for nearly 80 years. My parents, the boomer generation, grew up under the assumption that one day the U.S. and USSR were going to nuke each other. That wasn't stuff of conspiracy theories. It was soberly accepted as fact. When my parents attended college in the 70s and 80s, the progressives wanted to work and learn from the Soviets. It was less culture, less sophisticated crowd that was aggressively pro-American. However, again, I don't want to, gosh, I was about to read this article, but I'm thinking that this would take an hour, and we're not even in the spot prices yet. So fear is in the air. Prepare what's the best way to suit you and your loved ones. And again, highly recommend you read this. It's by Marie Hawthorne, whomever she is, but she wrote some good stuff here. And again, love the quote of the day. I don't like being told whom to hate. I don't either. I can figure that out on my own, and you can too, folks. Don't trust the media, don't trust the government, don't trust the officials at all to tell you who to hate, because it'll change the next day. George Orwell talked about this, and we spoke about this yesterday. It's what they call double speak, I think it is, or something like that. And newspeak or something like that, where your enemy one day can be your best friend tomorrow, and it immediately changes. This causes cognitive dissonance. This causes depression. Again, great article, worth the read. So let's get into spot prices before some of you wonder why we're here. And as I said, I discuss this stuff only because it flies. It goes right into precious metals, really, preserving your wealth. Okay. And again, we are in the decline of the American empire. There's no doubt in my mind about this. It saddens me to say that. However, every empire has its decline. No less, I think we had a few more good years that we could have had in our empire here, had we not elected the morons we have for the last few decades, or more, actually, longer than a few decades. But no less, we should have just followed the constitutions. Our founding fathers knew that. We shouldn't have allowed lawyers to become attorneys and lawyers become politicians. And maybe that's a harsh statement, but we screwed ourselves. Well, here, let me get into spot prices. It's up. I am surprised. I really felt that we'd see some, here's your first drink of the day, monkey hammering today. And as you notice, I've been trying to decrease my monkey hammer, and there's a second one, but just because you can overuse a word sometimes. Well, let's take a look at spot prices here. 1916, the low is where we were sitting yesterday. 1936, the high. Currently sitting at 1933. Our chart guy made a comment in yesterday's video. I haven't seen him make a comment in a while, and he made some astute comments, or astute statement that he had mentioned a while back ago, according to how he reads the charts, and he looks like he's really good at that. So we'll read that a little bit later here, but no less, we seem to be hanging on to this $1,900 level. We haven't seen sub 1,900 yet. Again, like an abused child, like all of us that are in the gold and silver markets expect the commercial shorts and the manipulators and Crimex and the LBMA and those casinos to smack us down one more time. I mean, it happens all the time. Again, like an abused child, you kind of start winching a little bit when you hear the slightest movement behind you. So when I'm seeing the gold prices kind of get smacked down a little bit, I'm expecting sub 1900. I'm expecting them to try to knock it back down to that $23 level for silver, which gets the big commercial shorts somewhat out of their positions at a more palatable level. All right, not at 25 bucks, folks. And platinum just overly cheap in my opinion. Palladium seems to be up right now. Let's look at silver, 24.70, low in 25.16, and we're currently sitting a little above that $25 mark. But folks, the week's not over yet. I still can't help but feel that they're going to try to attack that sub 1900 level. It won't be much below that unless they do a massive slubbing on it, massive spoofing and massive manipulation, which, like I said, desperate times may require desperate measures, and we could still see that massive manipulation downward just to help these sons of bitches cover their short board. Not us, but for the Crimex CME group to help these sons of bitches cover their short positions at the expense of long positions and people that are invested in metals. But no less, this manipulation is going to blow up in their faces. I hope that Crimex goes into default. I hope that LBMA goes into default. Well, maybe I shouldn't hope that, but in some degree, and as I said for a while, the credibility of COMEX and the credibility of the LBMA, and as we just noted with the nickel markets, the credibility of the LME is just shit right now. So they got major credibility issues, and once that starts happening, people don't want to invest. The people that would took the long side of these big commercial collusive short positions, they're not going to want to play once they understand this game and how it's rigged. And we're starting to see that already, especially with the nickel markets. There's some big long players out there that we're really surprised to see that stuff. And you think they're going to continue to play in that market? I don't think so. Well, let's take a look at, we know where spot prices are. Let's look at that range, 24.70 to 25.16. 25 cent, 50 cent moves are healthy in silver. When it's moving, what makes me nervous is when it's consistently moving one way or another, quickly in big moves. Let's take a look at the Kitco charts here and see what we got going on. This is reloading right now, and I'm gonna take a sip of coffee while that's reloading. 1 second here. And what do we got? A reload here? Oh, no, it didn't reload. Hang on 1 second. Sorry about that. I don't know why it does that. There we go. Oh, okay, here's our green line. This is today. Last night, markets kind of in gold sat around they got a schlubbing yesterday before, in the middle of the afternoon and when the New York COMEX opened, and then it kind of steadied off. A lot of the activity that we've seen on the upside and the downside on gold, and especially silver has been happening in the Crimex markets between this 8 and noon time period, as you can see here. Again, to the downside and the upside, although you do see some activity. Well, here you go, the activity to the upside there. But here, let me just avoid that. Let's just talk about what's happening right now. Above 1920, it looks like it was going to drop below that this morning a little bit, but now we're sitting at the 1930 level, and some action up and down overnight markets. However, it looks like we're going to stay in this 1900 plus range today. Again, I still expect the slubbing here somewhere. Schlubbing, how do you like that word? Schlubbing somewhere. And here I go, monkey hammer. That's another word for monkey hammer. That may occur by the end of the week on Friday, perhaps not. And maybe that's just me winching, like I said, like an abused child, just winching, you know what I mean? I'm getting smacked around all the time. And I'm sure some of you feel the same way. You're kind of expecting it. We don't see it. What's confusing, though, to me a little bit is that, we maintain this this above 1900 level. We've maintained it. It seems to be holding on, and it really looks like when you see these smackdowns, but $50, $100, that they're really trying to smack it sub 1900, but it just ain't working yet. But again, I can still feel it. I can still see it, and they could pull out all the stops, man, all the ammo. Their credibility's shot already, so why would they care to knock these markets down? Let's take a look at silver. Same way. I'm just amazed it's hanging on the post, high above 24, even, to be quite frank with you. I thought they'd knock it down to that 23 level, but we haven't seen that yet, and there seems to be strength. It keeps coming up to that 25 level. I honestly believe when it comes to silver, it has to do with physical shortages out there, and that as I said many times over, is that the tail has been wagging the dog for decades and decades and decades. And who is the tail? The tail is the paper silver markets. The tail is the paper gold markets. The tail is the paper markets, the derivative markets. That's what the tail is. The dog is the physical markets. And the beauty of gold and silver is that those paper markets are supposed to be back with the dog, which is the physical markets. However, I think things have gotten so out of control that, especially with silver, and that the physical markets are starting to have an effect on the paper markets, and that's why we keep seeing it bounce back up to that $25 mark. Again, that's my opinion. I'm sticking with it. If you got an opinion, stick it down in the comment section. I'd sure like to hear it. Agree or disagree. Let's take a look at equities markets here, because I'm in there already. Again, I believe that we are seeing a manipulated downward market. I believe that the equities markets, the Dow Jones, S&P, and NASDAQ, is that the Fed and the Treasury Department, the President, basically the presidential working group, I think it is, or the plunge protection team, is in there somehow trying to let this market collapse slowly, the death of 1,000 cuts. I think we're going to see just a slow hemorrhage of the Dow Jones, S&P, and NASDAQ for a while. The reason we don't going to see an overnight crash, and I think we almost saw one with that 1,100 point down move, Dow Jones last month or so, if you remember, huge down day. That was the beginning of it, really, the decline we've seen since then. And I believe that the Treasury and the governments are propping up these markets somewhat so we don't have an overnight collapse, but a sustained letting the air out of the balloon, so to speak. Again, that's my conspiracy theory. I'm sticking with that one. And if you're not familiar with who the plunge protection team is, just type in plunge protection team, and you're going to find out that a small group of people, President's group, the Treasury, and the Fed, can go in and secretly buy things, secretly manipulate markets, all under the guise of national security, okay? Read more about that. I think you're going to be surprised. And we know that they intervene in markets already. The Fed has been for years. The Treasury has been. The government has been. So can you imagine what this secret group of people can do? Think about that for a second. Let's move into Bitcoin prices again. Bitcoin actually a little bit stronger than I expected. Seems to have walked away somewhat from the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is down, but I'm really not seeing crypto down like it was. And hang on one second. Let's just look at one day and see what we're looking at. Actually, it is down a little bit from where its high was here. So maybe it is following the NASDAQ market. But I heard that Ray Dalio is creating some kind of fund. He's a big whale out there. Some of you may be familiar with. And he's creating a big fund in crypto. So for all you folks out there that we're hoping to become crypto millionaires with Bitcoin, it's over, man. The whales are in there. Once the whales are in there, once the government's in there, you're not going to make any money. They will. They'll give you a little bone here and there, though. That's just my opinion. Unless you're a good seasoned trader like our gold and silver people are. If you know how the crypto markets are rigged and you know who the players are in that casino, then you can make money, okay? But I can't tell you that. It's not my expertise. We can tell you that with gold and silver. Who does that very well? GATA.org does that very well. These are the guys that understand how the gold markets are manipulated, how the government's involved with it, or can be involved with it, and they lay a lot of this stuff out here. Good thing here that I've never talked about too much. We brought it up in a couple shows, but investors piling into gold ETFs face a surprising tax bill. Again, by Bloomberg News, which I don't know why they run corporate mainstream news on GATA.org. Maybe just lack of content is the reason. But the reason I hate seeing Bloomberg News being quoted on GATA.org is that Bloomberg News would throw GATA.org under the bus in an instant and call them conspiracy theorists, and they probably have at some point. But no less, Interesting article, I got to admit myself, by Bloomberg News. And if you think about it, this is in Bloomberg News, this is probably he meant to discourage. Think about this, gata.org and others. This article is probably meant to discourage people from going into gold by reminding them that there's a 28% capital gains tax now. And here, I'm going to read this real quick. ETFs, gold ETFs, are one of this year's hottest investments with war, inflation, stock market volatility, saying people scrambling for safe havens, but those buying physical gold ETFs may face an unexpected tax burden. Funds that invest in precious metals like gold and silver are treated like collectibles for U.S. tax purposes, meaning long-term capital gains from those funds will be taxed at a top rate of 28% compared with a minimum rate of 20% for stocks. Well, folks, that's why I recommend that you don't buy ETFs because they tax you immediately. You get a 1099. Whoever has that ETF will send a 1099 about how much you made that year if you lay it off, and they'll hit you with that 28% tax rate somehow. Nice thing about owning physical gold and silver, unless you sell it, there's no 28% sales tax. No 28% tax until you sell it. There's no 1099 until you go to sell it all at once. But there's a lot of ways, I think, out there that that 28%. Well, anyway, I'm not going to get into that. We'll do another time. But interesting thing for anyone that's invested in ETFs. Ambrose Evans brings up half-hearted sanctions against Russia have already failed. And I'm going to say absolutely, and I'll tell you why. Listen, I don't like to be told who to hate, just like that quote at the beginning. I don't like to be told who to despise or who I should dislike, and that's what governments and corporate media does. I don't dislike Putin. I don't particularly like him, but he's a strong man. He's actually a good leader for their country. I'm just going to come out and say it, all right? You call me as you will. If you don't understand the situation, then you're probably another corporate media moron that sits there and watches CNN or Fox and takes everything they say for gospel, including your officials and your government people, whether they're red or blue. I don't believe that. I think for myself, and again, as this lady says back here, I don't like being told whom to hate. I can figure that out on my own easily. I especially don't like being told who to hate when groups are foreigners, you know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what we got going on today. And let me say something about Russia right now and Putin. Half-hearted sanctions. These sanctions are not going to work. In fact, I spoke about this a couple times. The morons that they're running the show in both the blue and the red parties, okay? They're morons. I'm telling you, folks, we vote for morons for the most part. There's probably a handful of blues or reds that I actually respect, a handful, literally. And most of them are morons. They shouldn't be in the positions. That's why we're reaping what we sow right now. And they're all brainwashed, the reds and the blues. They're brainwashed against Russia right now. Russia, bad. Russia. Where do you think that narrative came from? Russians were our friends not too long ago. Not too long ago, folks. Well, actually, they were really our good friends until 2016 when a certain blue party person said that they were getting involved in the elections and that they were involved with throwing the elections towards the Trump guy. And they started lying about the Russians back then. And ever since then, it's been downhill. Okay, I kind of blame the blue party for this, but the red party sucks too. War hawks like Lindsey Graham, who I hope ends up meeting John McCain real soon. Again, that's my opinion. I can't stand Lindsey Graham. I think, again, he's never met a war he didn't mind sending some kids to die in. He hasn't. He'd send your kids to die in any war. He likes them all, and he's not unlike John McCain. And again, I hope Lindsey gets to visit McCain pretty soon. I know that's rough, but I can't stand war hawks. They're the worst in many ways. And like I said, number one, they don't mind sending your kids to die somewhere. Number two, they don't mind making everybody pay for it as well. So when I say that Putin is a smart guy, I think as far as the guy that we got in office currently, Putin is low. The guy we currently got couldn't play checkers on a good day. Putin can play a chess game a few moves ahead, and that's exactly where he's at right now, folks. I read this article and I'm thinking to myself, my God, that was brilliant. That was brilliant. Look at this. Russia to demand hostile states to pay in rubles for gas. I wish we had politicians and presidents that were as bright as this right here, given the situation that they're in. That's brilliant. They need the resources. They need the gas and the oil. They need it. The truth of the matter is, no matter what these sanctions are, mouthpiecing, jawboning these sanctions, and only morons would support these sanctions against Russia, because if you know about the art of war, what's the last thing you want to do? It's the last thing you want to do is help your neighbor keep their resources. You want to help your neighbor expend their resources. What does that mean? Buy as much oil as you can with cheap fiat US dollars from the Russians. Buy as much natural resources from your enemies as you can with cheap US fiat dollars, or however you can. And that puts them in a bigger situation. By these sanctions, who did it hurt? Hurt Americans, hurt Europeans. It didn't hurt fucking Russians. Are you kidding me? That's why I said our politicians in the United States, both red and blue, and the politicians and officials worldwide, for the most part in Europe and most places, are fucking morons, okay? But brilliant move by this guy right here, seriously, to do that. Again, I wish we had politicians with half the brain to be able to do something like this. And they are going to pay in rubles. If he sticks to his guns, Germany, who does not want to give up the oil, and some other countries as well. And can you imagine that if once this war thing kind of resolves itself in some way or another, and we'll get into that another day, can you imagine if Russia continues to demand oil, that their oil be paid for in rubles? Whoa. This is a heavy play, folks, and I think you should consider the implications of that. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Well, this is kind of interesting as well, because I forgot about this. Does anyone remember that back during the Ukrainian coup, which it was, the coup of 2016, I think, was 2014. I keep mixing that up. But in 2014, 2016, we had a coup in the CIA had a coup. That's what divided Georgia. That's what Georgia too, but that's what divided the Ukraine. Was a CIA coup performed by Ambassador Pyatt, I think it was is his name, and Secretary of State, I think Newland, or one of that was her. But we actually created the issue, and the reason there's a war in Ukraine right now is because the CIA and the United States meddling with it back in 2016. It's what Ron Paul and what the CIA themselves call blowback, unintended consequences of stupid shit you do today, unintended consequences in the future. But no less, I forgot about this. Remember Lebanon, and remember Gaddafi, all the gold Gaddafi had? Where did all that gold go? And where did Ukraine's gold go? Ukraine had 33 tons of gold. The U.S. quietly transferred 33 tons of Ukrainian gold out of the country and back to vaults in U.S. This is fact. This is not conspiracy. Presumably this sovereign wealth transfer. Where is that gold, by the way? And what happens to that 33 tons of gold if Ukraine does dissolve? Interesting. Where is that 33 tons of gold, by the way? And they don't talk about this. Where's that gold they stole from Muammar Gaddafi? Where is that gold? Folks, there's some evil shit going out there by our own governments. And I hope you remember this come election times. Let's study the people we're putting in there because, wow, we got crooks in. All right, I'm not going to go there. You know exactly what I'm saying. And it brings us to digital currencies, the rise of central bank digital currencies. All right, I had a long thing I was going to talk about with CBDCs. I think that's central bank CBDGs, CBDCs. That's what they are. These are like cryptocurrencies that the governments they're rolling them out, folks. This has been, and I always believe that the Bitcoin was an invention of some entity, government or private entity, banking, or one of these secretive agencies, to get us used to digital currencies, especially the younger generation who ate this shit up. All right, I believe that's the truth of that, and that Ethereum was just the next level up from that, because then they can program these currencies, for example, and that's exactly where we're going. A joint project between Central Bank of Canada and Massachusetts Institute of Technology will be researching the possibility of an entirely digital Canadian dollar. For you Canadian folks out there, anyone in Canada, do not accept CB. Do not accept any central bank digital currencies. And you know how they're going to get it out there. They're going to give it to the poor first. And then merchants, of course, are going to want to accept this because the poor all of a sudden got this money that merchants can get. That's how they're going to get it out there first. They're going to pay it in welfare. That's where CBDCs will show up first, is in the welfare. It'll be like food stamps. But it'll be cash, all right, different form. And merchants will be required to accept it possibly as well. And that's how they're going to get the masses. They're going to make everyone poor, then they're going to give them these free digital currencies, and that's how they're going to turn us into a cashless society, a dystopian cashless society where you have no freedom anymore. You don't have the ability of having privacy, what you spend your money on, okay? For all you guys out there like porn, it's over. I'm just kidding. I shouldn't say that. You ladies do, all right? That was a joke, all right? But no less, they're going to know everything you spend, where you spend it. And here's the worst part. Because they're going to be able to program your new currency, digital currencies, they'll be able to take it away from you. Now, that's what Canada did. Think about this. Canada went and took people's bank accounts because they donated to the truckers. Can you imagine once Canada has the power of owning every dollar and being able to program every dollar in your pocket, not in your pocket, but in your account? And say, for example, they don't like what you said on one of the social media platforms and they call you a hate person. Oh, we're going to suspend all your money for a week. Now all of a sudden you have no frickin' money. You have no way to get around. You've been deplatformed in life, economically, socially, you name it, folks. Digital currencies are evil, especially in the hands of governments. Evil, evil, evil. Reject them in any and every way possible. Don't accept them. Teach your children not to accept them. Digital currencies are the end of our freedoms. Period. 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 All right? I'd be happy to debate anyone on this. Reject digital currencies from governments, especially with great disdain, and don't fall for it, folks. Trust me on this. All right. That was my digital currency, central bank digital currency speech there. I think you have to agree with me too. It's dangerous, man. Stay away from them. All right, gold. We're going to talk about gold real quick, because what do I do better than, as good as Peter Schiff, and what do I do as good as any of the talking heads out there? I am a physical gold and silver buyer and wholesaler. So I wholesale it, I retail it. I've been doing this since 1977. I started working for my father part-time after working at the sub shop, Lou's Subs and Soups, in Boca Raton. That was my first job, and then I'd skateboard over to Dad's shop, and I'd work for him in the morning, well, after school. But no less, I know this stuff real well. I've sold, I can't even tell you, millions. You know, I love some of the guys out there, the online talking YouTube heads that have sold $100 billion in gold and silver. Bullshit. Most of them have. They fucking inflate those numbers. But I have sold millions and millions and millions of dollars of gold and silver since 1977. And I know that market. I know the bar market. I don't know charts real well. I'm not a chartist. I'm not a paper market guy. I don't understand ETFs as well as Ted Butler. I don't understand how the markets is manipulated in gold with the BIS as much as GATA.org. But what do I know just as good as these guys? I know physical products and what the best deals are out there. And Peter Schiff talks about in a recent broadcast, he doesn't view gold as an investment. He considers it as gold as savings. And it's close to what I'm saying. It's kind of, to me, it's wealth preservation, all right? Instead of holding dollars or holding euros, I'm holding real money. I'm holding gold. And there's a lot to be said behind Peter's statement right there. Gold has a historic track record of 5,000 plus years, all right? It's been money for that long. It really has. A medium of exchange. And anybody that says it's a useless, shiny rock is a freaking idiot, okay? And anyone says that cryptocurrencies were going to be a replacement for gold is a freaking idiot, all right? I'm going to just say it. Happy to debate them anywhere online or whatever. Again, let me know what you think in the comment section. Of course, there's volatility of the price of gold, just like there's volatility of everything, all right? And basically, Peter talks about a couple of things here that I've discussed over and over and over. When you buy physical gold, there are two main components to the price you'll pay. First is the spot price, all right? The second is the premium, an amount you pay over the spot. This is how sellers cover the overhead and make a profit. Applicable taxes, that kind of stuff too. And Pete's going on here to advertise himself just like I do. He says he has the lowest premiums in the industry, but I can still beat Peter's prices. He's a good guy too. And as you know, I advertise to beat JM and APMEX prices as well, and SD bullion prices as well. I haven't mentioned them in a while because I can add a whole list of people, but I can beat their prices, and so should your local dealer. Always buy locally if you can, folks, first. But, you know, Peter talks about this, and I get this all the time. Shared an experience related to him by a Shift Gold customer who tried to buy gold from a competitor and was hit with a bait and switch scam. That happens all the time, folks. Customer was shopping for American Gold Eagles. He got a price from Shift Gold, and even I would tell people not. Peter's not telling people not to buy Gold Eagles. I would tell people not to buy Gold Eagles because they're still overpriced. But Peter's got a point. Compared to what a lot of these telemarketers and these so-called online gold sellers and the guys you see on TV and a lot of YouTube talking heads, they're trying. They reel you in about buying gold and gold as being a good hedge and all this true stuff. It's very true. And then you want to go buy gold from them, and they try to talk you into graded, certified numismatic coins, US $20 gold pieces, $10 gold pieces, $5. They talk you into this stuff. And why do they talk you into that? Not because they're looking out for you and they think you should buy gold, even though that was the argument they used. But the fact is they can mark that shit way to hell up and the salesman make a fortune. It's overpriced, folks. Certified US gold coins. Listen, I love rare coins. I love graded gold coins, all right, if you buy them for the right reason. But if you're buying them as a hedge on inflation because of, and you're buying them because you want to buy gold and silver, that's a complete wrong reason. You buy coins because you like to collect them, number one, you're a hobbyist, and number two, it's a whole different field. You're paying premiums for grades. And by the way, even when it comes to graded coins, I think the grading is, when it comes to common coins like $20 gold pieces, there's millions of them out there that are brand new condition. Literally, they're not rare by any way, shape, or form, but by assigning a grade to them, 63, 64, supposedly makes them worth more. Folks, it's not true. It's just a way to steal money from, in my opinion, steal money from people that really should have just bought gold bars and silver bars. All right, not overpriced stuff that they not did. But anyway, Peter talks about this. And the first red flag is company wanted to wire money to them first before they even committed to it. They wouldn't even lock in a price, Peter said, but that's a red flag to me. And again, Peter, it's nice to see Peter talking about, and they get celebrities to talk about, yeah, that's true. They use celebrities in their ads. And what else here? Bait and switch. A good article by Peter Schiff in Zero Hedge right here. You got to look for it. It's called Peter Schiff, Beware of Gold Scams. I'd recommend that you read it, my recommended reading list here. And I'm going to move on from there. Speaking of what the good deals are out there, I advertise to beat JM, APMEX, and SD. But man, I'm telling you, there's a shortage of product out there in silver, especially. The premiums have not gotten lower, they've gotten higher. We're going to get into that too. Someone mentioned something. They wanted me to say, is there really a silver shortage? Yes, there is, folks. But meanwhile, it looks like, and I'm going to do a quick refresh here. Where do we go? There we are. Looks like, again, gold bars are the best deal out there. I have gold bars priced at better than what you can buy them from JM, SD, or APMEX. Also, I would not suggest Eagles, even though I think they're beautiful and I like the product. The premium's too high. Same thing with Buffaloes and Maple Leafs. Stick with the gold bars, folks. There's no reason to buy these higher premium products. There's no good reason other than they're pretty. And if you're buying stuff because it's pretty, then you're really making a mistake. You are. You're paying a premium that you don't need to be paid, that you could put into something else. For example, you could buy a gold bar and 2 ounces of silver for the same price you could buy 1 gold eagle at. So tell me why there's an advantage of buying gold eagles. Please, someone, please. Again, happy to hear your comments in the comment section. In stock silver, same thing, man. Look at the silver, $30, right? That's a $5 plus premium. They say low as, which really means that, you know, unless you're buying 500 or more, and again, I can beat these prices, you're paying $30, you're paying 5 something over. Again, I got a better price than this, folks. And $31 for smaller quantities. I can beat all these prices here, so should your local dealer be able to. And I'm not dissing these online companies. I'm just saying, you know, keep that money local. Keep it in town. Even if you have to pay more than, you know, $31.25. I know I'm price conscious, but I'd rather see you keep that money in your local area than send it out of the state where you'll never see it again. Well, Let's take a look at yesterday's video, which is in gold and silver we trust. All others pay cash. No digital currencies on this show, folks. Digital, my ass. That's just another way of stealing your freedom. Okay, let's take a look at comments yesterday. There's some cool comments in here, too. I'm going to sort by newest first, all right? And where's, oh my gosh, I can't find him now. There he is. Uh-oh, I was just looking for Chart Guy. I thought I saw Chart Guy on here. Now, all of a sudden, I cannot find it. Hang on. That was yesterday's video, right? No, I'm in the wrong video. Doggone it, that wasn't yesterday's video. Yesterday's video was... see, I'm behind today. Give me a second. There you go. All right, I should know that. All right, let's take a look at yesterday's video. And we have posted wrong videos up before today, too. So, sort by newest first. Yep, that's the money capital. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. That would be the money capital, money laundering capital of the world. And Jerry loves Bitcoin Platinum. Hey, Jerry, what's up? He asked me to watch another precious metal dealer channel in Florida as well. He claims there's no shortage in silver. Made a few videos on the subject. The reason I'm leaving this claim is to ask you if you could do a reaction to his video claim. I did briefly just take a look at it, and it's tough for me to, again, no matter how good the video, the YouTube talking head guy is or lady is, I have a hard time just watching these because I live it every day, hours and hours, 5 and 6 days a week. So for me to go and watch a half-hour show on something that I just do every day, it has to be really, really riveting, or talk about something outside of things like that. But unfortunately, I kind of just beefed around in some of his videos, didn't watch the whole thing, and kudos to the guy for putting videos out. He looks like he's trying to educate people, although, there's a fine line between getting business like I'm doing. I'm marketing myself, but I'm trying to market myself through education. I think that's an important thing to do, and it's an honest thing to do. But no less, if he's claiming that he made some claim that, I just read briefly, I could have misconstrued it, but that the supply is or there's big demand, but there's no shortage of supply. You can't separate supply from demand. Because if you say you have big demand, that's the reason there's not silver in the market. What does that mean? That means the supply is dwindling. What does that mean? It means that there is a shortage of silver, and there is an above ground shortage of silver. I think people that say otherwise are really not seeing it, or maybe new to it, or just are believing the narrative that they hear from mainstream corporate type thoughts, But no less, there is definitely a shortage, and I believe he is absolutely incorrect. But it's cool to be incorrect. I mean, I won't say cool to be incorrect, but it's cool to disagree with that, and I disagree entirely. We definitely are in a shortage, and anyone that actually looks at markets out there. But hold on, someone mentioned that. Here you go. I get tired of people saying buy the dip everywhere you go, or dealers at line. They just jack up the premiums, or just keep the metals in there safe and claim they are sold out. I'm sorry, Angel, but that's not true at all. I mean, it might be true with some dealers, but a vast majority of the people out there, look at JM Bullion, look at SD. Do you really think that they're like saying, notify us later, not for sale, not available? Do you think they're doing that just to jack up the premiums? No, I'm sorry. Angel, that's an uninformed opinion right there, and you are incorrect on that, unfortunately. And I can't tell you that you should buy the dip, but hey, listen, you're entitled to in your opinion, but I've been doing this for a long, long time, and I can tell you're absolutely incorrect on that. But again, that doesn't make you a bad person. Being incorrect, I've been incorrect on many things as well. Doesn't make me a bad person, doesn't make you a bad person. Seems funny spot prices are lower than they raise the premium. Same thing, Scott. It's not greedy people, Scott. It's a true supply and demand. For example, I just sold a whole bunch of silver eagles yesterday at spot plus, what was it? Spot plus $8.75. Think about that. I sold it to another dealer for $8.75 over. So anyone that thinks that these prices are just, the premiums are just jacked up just out of greed, completely misinformed and wrong. Okay, sorry about that. Again, doesn't make you a bad person. They started saying Monkey Hammer on other silver sites, even Kitco. I'm famous. Thanks, John. I didn't make the Monkey Hammer. I actually, where did I see Monkey Hammer first? The reason I use the term so much, I read it on Zero Hedge like years and years and years ago. I don't even know they use the term anymore, but I just kind of kept it and used it, and I've been using it for years. But it looks like there's a resurgence out there of Monkey Hammer. Maybe I'm causing it. I don't know. Maybe I am famous. Thanks for watching, John. Yep, I always double dog dare people. I haven't heard that term in a while. Double dog dare you. Like that. Thank you. You know who? 311. Because prices are going and premiums are going up. Hey, relax. You know what? There's not much you can do about the premiums. Like I said, I just sold Silver Eagles, a bunch of them, 3 monster boxes, not a bunch, small amount for me actually, but 3 monster boxes of Silver Eagles, and I just sold them for spot plus, I think it was, oh gosh, I just forgot what I said. Was it $8.75 or something like that? Spot plus $8.75. And I believe there were some buyers out there even at spot plus $9.25 and maybe higher on Silver Eagles. Folks, if that's fake, then why, they're obviously paying too much as well. So explain that to me. Again, not correct when people think that it's just dealers jacking up premiums. Totally incorrect. Some dealers may do it, but that is not industry-wide for sure. Thanks, Coach Alpha Elite. I appreciate that. Salivate Metal. I like him. I think he's very enthusiastic. I think, again, I can't watch a lot of videos that deal with gold and silver. The YouTube videos I watch are Hickok 45, and I watch the fishing channel, Florida Sportsman Fishing. I like guns. I like surfing. I watch surfing channels. I watch very few silver channels, folks. Again, I do this every day for a living. I've been doing it since I was a kid. But I do read stuff, and I do watch some. Like if Ted Butler does a video, I'll watch that. These are people that have been doing it even longer than I have. And I tend to watch people that have been doing it for decades and decades, not the newer dealers and the newer talking heads out there, or the talking heads that don't do it for a living every day for 30 or 40 years. What else is going on? Appreciate that, Blind Shiva. And yeah, can't argue with that. Where is... stop staying around. Let us know how you really feel about COMEX. Thank you. I appreciate that. Pathetic Prepper. Strongman. Yeah, I agree. Premiums are ridiculous, but like I said, I just sold Silver Eagles at a ridiculous premium to a large wholesale dealer. APMEX is offering to pay well over $8.50 per ounce, or not well over. They're offering to pay like $9 or $9.25 or something over to other dealers. So. Trust me, they ain't just jacking premiums for no reason. They're also jacking up their buy prices too to get the stuff. Hey Joey, what's up? Joe Rock, I have to get more gold to myself, 16-1. My current ratio is 76-1, pretty cool. And sorry to hear that, Linda. You may want to look around and find yourself a second shop, even if you have to drive a little ways. Love the opportunity to buy the dip. Beto D, how you doing? Hager. Brian's like a pit bull. When a pit bull gets a hold of something, they won't go. Yeah, I can be like that. I am stubborn sometimes. But I'm never afraid to admit I'm wrong when I am. You're correct. Our leaders no longer believe in U.S. ideals. The globalists bankrupted the USSR once already and did not appreciate Putin, reclaiming his assets. That is why globalists have made him an enemy number one. Our puppet leaders will allow U.S. citizens to suffer in order to bring... That's true, man, unfortunately. COMEX vault is empty. That may be true. Howard, Heart of Texas, what's up? And Silver Loving Lou, thank you, sir. Comparing, same $15 more at Silvertown. Yep, prices are all over the place, but premiums are just stupid, man. Real Shebang, the prices look hilarious, as does the fiat. That's true. Thank you for watching. Real Shebang, Large Farva, David, HDMG Toe. Yeah, I can't argue with that. Hey, you can say it. Go ahead and say it, AG. You don't have to. You can put the U in there if you want to. Back up the truck. That's true. And Rick says, I used to. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. Hey, where's Chart Guy? My gosh, I saw Chart Guy somewhere. Did I lose him? Give me 1 second here. Chart Guy had said that the charts looked. Here we are. I did miss Chart Guy. What's up, 100 or bust, Chart Guy? Let's read what he says. I don't think we're going to see, and this is his comment from my video yesterday, and again, remember, I put a question mark on that. Look, right there, question mark. $1,800 gold and $23 silver this week, question mark. As I said, I've been so used to these beatdowns, I just keep expecting more coming up. But Chart Guy doesn't think so. He says the chart pattern is pristine and intact. Everything is on track to complete its forecast. Since wave D at 2750 was hit, we are in the final throes of the last turning point. Wave E, which is the weakest of all corrections in this pattern, dating back to August 5th, 2020. In other words, the correction ensuing the recent high of 2750 will be shallow. It may take a few more weeks to drag out, blow off some froth while alleviating overbought technicals, but expect very little downside action. Actually, looking for another rally in 26 before falling back into the C wave of a big ABC zigzag mentioned several weeks ago. Again, this correction needs to be shallow, which allows the price of silver to go huge descending upwards, trending such that the big thrust smashing through 2750 will not have much will have that much to travel, and then chase will be on. This upcoming rally will rip your face off in the back of your head. Well, from your lips to the gold and silver god's ears there, Hunter and Bus. Chart guy, appreciate the comments. He knows his stuff, folks. I mean, he knows his charts, obviously. Again, I'm not a chartist, and I'm pretty clear that I'm not, but I'm learning more and more as I go, and thanks to guys like Chart Guy, I'm actually learning a few things here. And as I said in my comment section, you can learn a lot in the comment section here. Everyone's real civil. Everyone talks to each other. You got any questions, hit a reply down here to Chart Guy. I'm sure he'd be happy to answer them, or at least I'm assuming. Hey, thanks again, Chart Guy. I appreciate your assessment there. And I hope it's absolutely true. Hey, I'm going to call this show here, but first, my meme for the year, my theme for the year is think for yourself and question authority. Even question what you believe is true. Question the narrative in your own head. Is it yours? Is it really your narrative that you created on your own and you thought through, or is it a narrative of corporate news, a narrative of your parents, a narrative of the government, a narrative of your school, or all of them? Question even your own narrative, folks, and you'll learn a lot that way. Hey. That's it. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Call me anytime at 954-493-8811 between 10 and 4 Mondays through Fridays. Happy to help you out with the best deals are. And if you don't live in my area here in South Florida, unfortunately, I can't deal with you because we don't deal in the mail. However, I do encourage you to find yourself a good local dealer like myself. Hey, that's it. Thanks for watching. Have yourself a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye now.